Alright, so we are going to mix this song. Start with the verses. And I'm going to go element by element and make sure that nothing's overlapping sonically, and just make sure all of our levels are nice and straight. Start with the kicks. A track like this, kick's going to be the backbone, and I want it to only take up a certain part of the frequency spectrum so it doesn't overlap and kill everything else. Go ahead and get started. Start with everything at 0, and I try and get at the end of the mix the track leveled out at between -6 and -6 and 10 dB. That way, when I master, I can control clipping and levels, stuff like that. So, all right, here we go. So I got 4 kicks here. One for like a lower end kind of thump. I think that's this one. And then one for the attack part of it. Kind of give that quick pop in the beginning. This is the very bottom end of it, and then this is the body of the drum. So because this track is so bass heavy, I don't want that low end to be too prominent, but sounds alright. Go through the claps and everything. Same thing with the drums. I got 3 claps to give it some body. And I have this running through an effects chain. Hear it just kind of by itself. No reverb or anything. So, a little distortion, a little body, cut out the lows, and a little reverb. Sounds good. And now I'm going to start kind of EQing and adjusting the levels and compression, everything of the little synth line. So this, I don't know if you can even hear it. There we go. And then the new wob. So I'll just go one at a time. So basically the way this is lined up is this is the wob synth, that line you're hearing. And it looks really big but it's really just two sounds. So there's the sub bass, which I'm going to play with first. And that's just to give it body, and then you'll hear it without. So it just sounds kind of empty and flat without that sub bass on there. It's a pretty common technique. So this is the sub bass right in here, and then this is the rest from here down, and then those two run into this little virtual mixer, get side chained with the kick, and then I have a limiter on top of that to basically just boost the levels out. So this top synth is the synth itself, and it runs through a filter, and the signal gets split. And so half the signal, well, one of the signals goes through this chain and it gets EQ'd and distorted, and the other one goes from here to a different EQ, reverb, distorted, and they get combined again down here. So it's just a shortcut way of, instead of having that one synth that's kind of doing its own thing and sounding kind of flat, to basically give me two without having to duplicate the hardware itself and running a separate chain. So it just gives it a little more body. Alright. So I'm satisfied where that's at. Now we're going to go and do some vocal stuff. So this is the sample without any effects on it.
But I'd put my life on standby just to see what we could be. Nights you forget to call.
So I put a really soft delay on there, and there's two duplicates of the track. And what a technique, it's called the Haas effect. I'm not really doing it right, but it's kind of the same idea. Is where you have either one signal or multiple signals, and you can create the illusion of depth by putting really light delays on each of them with different delay steps. So like one, the delay starts at like 16 steps, and one, the delay starts at like 3 steps. And it just creates the illusion of, instead of the signal just coming from one single microphone in a single room coming out of a set of speakers, that there's a bit more wideness and warmth to it. So that's what we're going for.
Make me wonder if you care or love me at all. I overreact.
And then this is just a low pass, which I kind of already have on the mixing board anyway, but it just gets rid of a little bit of the fuzz from the recording. A light side chain, what the side chain does is every time the kick hits, it'll duck everything else down. That way, it makes the kick stand out a little more, which is important for styles of music like this, and also prevents the track from peaking. So the kick is it's going to be pretty prominent, and instead of taking that kick and stacking it on top of everything else at full volume, you duck everything else down, and volume-wise, that kick will stand out a little more. So.
And then I bet.
And this is just a straight compressor, so since there's a lot of dynamic range in the recording, I kind of squash that down a little bit. Normally that'd be good, but for tracks like this, I need a little bit less dynamic range, that way I can mix it a little better.
Backtrack, baby, I swear I try. It's just hard with you so far away. But I'd put my life on standby just to see what we could be. Nights you forget to call, make me wonder if you care or love me at all. I overreact. But I put my life.
So I have two duplicates, just to kind of give a little more body. On their own, they sound kind of weird, but if you hear the whole thing put together, those duplicate tracks can't really necessarily hear them on their own, and they just add kind of a bit of spaciousness to the original.
just to see what we could be. Nights you forget to call make me wonder
So the original by itself.
if you care or love me at all.
With little
I
depth.
overreact and then I backtrack, baby. I swear
Alright, so we're going to go through and listen to this intro and do some levels checking. So I want that right around here. I think that sounds pretty good. And I'd say that's a pretty good mix. So basically where we're at is all the track levels and panning and effects and structure. I don't really want to say done, but I'm comfortable with it. So I'm going to export this, bounce it out as a wave. Alright, so here we are, some master and chain, pretty simple. Oops. So basically what this is you take the raw signal, this is the mix I just bounced out, and can do some equalization, compression on the final signal, and limit it out. So this will, I don't want to say flatten the dynamic range, but that's basically what it does, just not a whole lot. Normalize that sound out to 0 dB is what this is doing. This is actually a new tool. I just got it yesterday, so still kind of working on figuring it out. We're going to try and get those levels peaking around 0 and no red anywhere.